Facing adversity just as a person, not just a comedian. Yeah. How do you handle adversity and what's your steps?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer. One thing I always say is that I feel very lucky that I grew up in sports. That I grew up being competitive and having parents that are competitive, because you just get used to it. You just get used to competition, to someone not allowing you to do exactly what you want to do, or facing situations that you don't like, or overcoming injuries or losses or whatever it is. I think for me, it's the mentality that you just keep going. And to be honest, I think that's something that even lacks today overall with the social media stuff, is people are so thinking ahead of or what that success looks like. And people lose the resiliency side of thinking like, I'm feeling this way, and then you become that. You're talking about a lot of mental health. I am statements in that mentality. That's a lot. People say you are what you eat. You are what you think too.
Oh yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Like the identity that you put out there is what it is.
Hold your applause, I ain't done yet. Immortality got me weary since Kobe died. I got this watch on my arm, but I'll never know my time. So my focus lies in my work, which got me in overdrive. I can't break for a day. I'm in a maze of my mind. I can't make an escape.
Listen, man, we back. Welcome back to Decoding Two Sides of the System. Y'all already know my name, King Trey. I'm here with Charles Dudley. I said the name right, y'all.
You got it right.
Y'all don't see the bloopers before, but nah, man. Very nice, man. Thank you so much for coming to the show, man, and tapping in with me. I kind of want to start off. Let's start off with just your life. Your dad, 18 years in the NBA. Talk to me about that experience. What was it like having a dad like in the NBA, man, like growing up?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's a little bit of a trip, right? Because he retired in 2003, and I'm born in 98. Oh, so it's kind of like, I always tell people, like, if my dad wasn't 6'11", I would have no idea. Because he's just chill. He's just the dad. He comes out, he wears his cargo shorts, he hangs out with you, and then, like, he's your dad. And then someone, comes up to you and gives you an art, asks, hey, can I have a photo with your dad? And you're like, I guess. Like, what did he do? Like,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But yeah, no, it's great. I mean, my dad's an awesome, humble guy, amazing career, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah.
Nah, hearing a bunch of things from, like, B about him. B was telling me just how, first off, shout out to B. I appreciate you helping me orchestrate this interview, bro. Love. He was just telling me just, like, his demeanor of, like, how cool he is, chill. And he's just a down-to-earth person. He's like, bro, you wouldn't even think that he played. He's very humble. I think that mindset, I feel like that sprinkles into family and stuff. When you have somebody like that, it keeps you humble, not to, be out of place and things like that, for sure.
Yeah, definitely keeps you in check, for sure.
Facts.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been like that. I mean, he's a guy who wants to work and hoop, obviously he did. And, he's had an amazing career post the NBA as well. I mean, people forget, like, he went to Yale. Like, he's a smart dude. He's a nerd at heart. He's a nerd who happens to be 7 feet tall. But no, he loves it, loves the game. And yeah, it definitely keeps you in check too. Cause, like, I don't know if you know, but my dad was the first NBA player with type 1 diabetes.
Oh, dang.
So yeah, and his story is incredible because he was diagnosed back, I guess it'd be like early 80s. And that was like a 50-50 time if they'd say, were you allowed to play sports still?
Yeah.
And he had a doctor who encouraged him and said, yeah, do it. And took off with it. But he was a late bloomer. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, he didn't make varsity till his senior year of high school, which is crazy. Wow. Yeah, and then worked his way up. From there, got to Yale. Yale was a late recruit. He actually was drafted, I want to say 75th, which isn't even a pick anymore.
Yeah,
it was a fourth rounder, and then played 16 years. So it's kind of like when you have that much of an inspirational story, it's kind of like, how can I not? I'm like, oh, I'm tired. He goes, really? Do you want to go over my biography again? Do you want to know what you're doing?
No, that's I think hearing that too, because I didn't even know about the diabetes thing, but I know it takes an incredible amount of hard work to do anything. And like, as far as you jumping into comedy and things like that, I know that there's certain trials and tribulations that you go through. And there's a moment of like self-belief that you gotta have within yourself.
Yeah.
Especially to grab a mic and say, I'm gonna do stand-up.
Right.
I think like most people think that like it comes from like instant gratification. If you say you're doing something like, oh, I wanna be a comedian. Oh, I grabbed the mic. People like, so how's comedy? They don't understand that there's steps to build.
There's a lot of work.
Yourself. So I want to kind of talk about that, the mental side of that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to building, I'm gonna give you my perspective on
Please,
it. So most people, I say this in the camera, most people think that if you're doing something, you can just hop right in and you just go. But there's levels and there's a process for everything. For instance, he's a comedian, up-and-coming comedian, working on his craft, writing jokes, not only writing jokes, having to go up there, say the jokes, have a presence. It's not just being funny. Now you have to present your funny to people, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
So just whatever you're doing in life, understand that there's steps. I've been getting a lot of, since my podcast has been going crazy and like going up, everybody asking me, Trey, like, I want to do podcasts. Listen, there are steps to do this. Like I literally posted over 1,000, probably, I did the numbers. I think it's like 1,700 videos before I shot one podcast.
Wow.
But I knew that I had to be comfortable under the camera.
Yeah.
And if you know, I know it, you have to put up your shots like you with comedy. Like it just gets, you have to do those reps. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the reps of comedy and the importance of building steps in order to get where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's, definitely a lot of trial and error. I mean, you're talking about instant gratification. And I mean, obviously, you do it for laughs. You know, you do it to be connected to an audience and to do your jokes and you care. And I mean, of all art forms, it is the most instant gratification as far as a creator goes. Yeah. Because I go when I say a joke to an audience, I get a laugh or I don't or something in the middle. Right. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of time to build and a lot of bombing and a lot of success and back and forth. And I mean, it's one of the only mediums where you have to fail publicly to get there all the time.
Let's talk about that fail publicly.
Yeah.
My
favorite part. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, I mean, you brought it up, so I mean, I was gonna bring it up, but you said it first. But all right, so what's the mental mindset of not only knowing but understanding that you have to fail publicly? See, people don't understand that when you first start, like in comedy, doing my research, a lot of comedians say, "Well, I knew I had to fail," but that's part of the game. Yeah. But some people mentally, you know, with social media, like you might do a joke online, you get 1,000 likes, but then you go in a comedy club and it doesn't get no laughs. Yeah. So how is that? What emotions do you feel up there whenever you just bomb? Or which
to the camera, I don't bomb that often. I always talk a lot about bombing off the rip. I think it's funny. It's changed a bit. So I think obviously the bombing never feels good, but when you're first starting out, it can be so devastating because you don't understand it, and obviously every once in a while you have a bomb that hurts. But I think the other part of it is just believing that either the next bit's gonna work or you get some information. You know, doing a lot of open mics kind of takes that out of you because a lot of those mics, you know, it's not the same as a paid audience, right? We have other comics in the crowd and they know every joke. We know there's no magic to us. We get it. We know how the meat's made. So kind of doing those and getting the reps in, you get used to how to keep moving through and how to be honest. And I think the big thing too is like I come from sports, right? I was a basketball player myself. Obviously my entire family is all athletes, everything. So, you know, it's like what happens when you lose a game? Well, you play again. You miss a shot. All right. Shoot another one, you know. And I think with comedy too, it's you can have it too where you could be bombing and then you get something happens in the crowd and it throws off the rhythm, or you have a good quip or good riff or whatever, and you can get right back on track. So I think a lot of it is I'm trying jokes out to hear them. Sometimes I'm saying it for literally the first time. And I've definitely done jokes where as I'm saying, I'm like, this is not going to work. Facts. So yeah, I mean, it's anything. Anything's going to be trial and error. I think the only difference with stand-up is why people put it in such a pedestal of failure is because it's so public. And I think that's the only difference.
It's hard. I think people, they fear what you guys got to do. Because I think it's the most known fear because
public speaking.
Because, you know, people do open mics as far as they'll go sing something, karaoke. People be a little nervous karaoke, but it's different when there's no music and you're saying a joke and you're looking for a response.
That's what always bothers me with musicians. That's the one, like, jealousy I have with musicians is, like, when you walk to a music festival and someone's just, like, playing out there, I'm like, you could just play and you're fine and you're doing your job. I'm like, no one has to pay attention to you and you could be crushing it. Versus stand-up, I'm like, please look at me the whole time.
It's like you're fighting for attention.
Yeah, you really are.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just hearing that and going through the steps, I want people to know there's layers out there for your mindset in order for you to accomplish things. So if you going and you doing something, never look at the failure, look at your progress, look at the product. Whenever I started my pod, I always looked at the progress of myself versus the product. I know that the product is not going to be at its best because I didn't know what I was doing. Like, it's, it takes time to write an episode, get with people. But when you focus on your progress of yourself, the product automatically becomes better.
Right.
And then you take your small steps, and then when you leap, and then you decide to, okay, like, I'm gonna really go for it, you're more comfortable doing the work that makes the product better than not having a process of even how to get a better product.
Right.
That's like real things, because I feel like people try to skip steps, and no matter what you're doing, you gotta go through your own process. Some people, it takes, I seen a bunch of NBA guys say it's like 10,000 hours you got to put in, or things like that.
Yeah, with stand-up, they say don't put a special out until 10 years, which is, and that's the tricky, that is the one thing I will say that, like, I will admit that I struggle a little bit with is, I don't do, at this point in my career, a lot of social media. And I always go back and forth. And it's even like this last week, I've been thinking about it, of like, how much, do I want to put out or put energy in? How much am I doing it for me? Because like part of me just wants to be in the dark, doing stand up, don't worry about anything, just get as good as I can and whatever. But now with social media, it's a blessing and curse, because you can get out there and connect with people and do all these great things, different mediums. But then there's also a weirdly, like, kind of a shortcut in the stand-up, but there's this new, because like there's a shortcut to getting your name out there and recognition and maybe getting booked by clubs who don't know you, but there's not a shortcut in being good. So a lot of times you have people who have these big old followings, and they go to the show, and the show's like and it's because it's a weird thing with stand-up that I think everyone's going through. Every comedian I talk to, doesn't matter how many years you're in, 30 to brand new. It's really changed the game, but the skill level of stand-up is the same. So yeah, even for me, it's like that's a hard one that I'm trying to navigate personally.
I think social media, like you said, can be a gift or a curse. I feel like, because I'm in the mental health, I really feel like your mindset matters of what you align your social media with. And when I say that, I mean on my social media, it's all traveling places that I want to travel. It's business things, just business ideas, business tips, and I think I have sports on there. But I kind of keep it like that. I don't really like looking at other people's lives like that, because I found that when you're on social media, like I said, it's either a gift or a curse. If I'm looking at other podcasts and they're winning in my lane, and I'm like, dang, well, they got this. That's when I feel like I'm mentally, like I'm doing the wrong thing. But whenever I look at my timeline, I know that I'm 100%, I'm going to learn something, or I'm going to be motivated by it. I think that most people timelines, just being honest, on Instagram, men have a bunch of women that if you've seen them in person, you're not going to talk to. Like, you ain't even got the confidence, it's
He's just doing this at the bar. Just,
just peeking,
just window shopping.
It's not even,
nothing done.
It's, what's the other stuff? Probably fighting, shooting, all.
The alpha male content.
Like, it's just, for me, I think that your social media should really be aligned to what you're trying to accomplish or what you want to accomplish. Something to motivate you. If you're just going and you're looking at people's lives that's living in the same town as you, or just not, I would say, if it doesn't elevate your mind, then I feel like you're wasting time online, because if you're involved and indulged in somebody else's life, that means you're not doing something right in yours. That's how I look at it mentally. You said about yours, you don't know if you want to do social media, but for your business, you're talking business. Another thing you said that people might have forgot, he said they don't tell you to drop a special until 10 years in the game.
Thanks.
This is what I was talking about, instant gratification, how people just want things now. You said 10 years. People don't understand. Whenever you have a plan for something, it might take that long for you to accomplish your dreams. But we live in today's time where people think you can just jump on. Like,
well, and you're seeing everything all the time, and it's the viralness of it. I mean, that's the thing. It's funny. You kind of said it as far as you have a joke that goes viral online that didn't work in person. Matt Rife is a really good example of that, of not a skill level thing, but when he talks about when he made his viral jump, he said he was only posting clips, kind of like the same thing like all of us. clips, like just said, hey, just do it. Right. And then he said the one that actually took off, he didn't think it was that good of a clip. He just needed to post something, and all of a sudden that got 20 mil, and then everything went from maybe 5,000 to 200,000, and that was the rest of it. So there is a tricky thing of being, but that doesn't equate to stand up. And it's the building of an act, and to go through, and obviously, the levels of eventually making an hour. Or, I think that's the thing that's really challenging, because where it's fun is live. That's why you do it, is live. I don't do it to say, hey, I'm a comedian, or I don't do, and you will know people, not to like talk shit, but it's like there's a real thing of people will go out and they'll do crowd work to get clips. And it's not even a knock on the skill level or them. It's they feel like they have to. And that's what is really challenging about it. And, a lot of people doing crowd work who maybe shouldn't be doing crowd work. They're doing because they have an algorithm and a computer mind is saying, hey, this is what people think they want.
And another thing, too, is I don't think people understand that likes don't equal great stand-up. There's people that there's people that kill it on. I seen Drewski talk about it. I seen Desi Banks. These are guys that said, man, I had to really put in work with this stand-up because it's not social media. And just recently I was doing research because I know I was going to be interviewing you, but I heard Bobby the girl Bobby Windsor.
Oh, Bobby
I don't know.
The podcast girl?
Yeah.
Oh, Bobby, it's like Atloff or something.
Yeah, Bobby Atloff.
Some last name that I'm like, I don't think I want to put that much effort in learning.
In fact, like her and Funny Marco, they went and did a stand-up. One of their shows. One of their shows went bad, and then he came on, and the split was kind of crazy, but she wasn't giving me anything, and the people, and that, it's no shade, but that's a testament to kind of like what we're talking about as far as likes, and they're great on social media and very funny. I respect both of them, but
for sure,
it was like a learning experience when you're doing stand-up because it didn't work in public, So it's funny. Even Chris Rock and Kevin Hart did a really good documentary together. I forget what it's called. It's on Netflix. And Chris was talking about, and they're sitting in MSG. They recorded an MSG show and everything. Right. And Chris was talking about Bruce Springsteen and saying how important it is you can have a bunch of hits, but to perform live, people always come see you. Right. He said, when's the last time Bruce Springsteen's put out an album? But he sells out everywhere. He sells out all these major things. George Strait just set the record for a headlining show in the U.S. I think he had 120,000. I think even more than that, just for him. When's the last George Strait song that came out? But he's great live. All these people are great live. And live, it's also the thing too. It's that's the gratifying part. It's cool to see, hey, you got a clip that took off and it feels good and blah blah. But the whole point of laughter is communicative. One thing that really flipped the switch with me a little bit, and it made me a better comedian, made me enjoy comedy even more, was there's a book I read called Super Communicators. It's a really good book. It's mostly about why are some people really good communicating, why aren't, blah, blah, blah. And they had this little piece of it that was talking about laughter. And they said biologically why we even have it as a function is to show basically reciprocated vulnerability. So it's kind of like if I say a joke, something that's outlandish or whatever, by me saying that, I'm showing vulnerability. I'm risking you being having a negative reaction. So you laughing is I receive it. And so that's even the thing. That's why when you see a fundraiser and the president of a university says something and people laugh and you're like, that wasn't funny, but we all laughed. That's what it is. So stand-up is the same thing. Stand-up is this. That's why you need a good tight room and you're talking and you're being open and people are laughing because obviously you have jokes and stuff, but it's really important to connect. And with social media, that connection is gone. It's just the joke. It's just what you think of it and or how interesting you think it is even. And that's it. Hearing you talk about stand-up and just reading books and everything. Funny because I do the same thing. I read a couple books for podcasting, but just to help my mental mindset. What got you into comedy? What pushed you to say, dang, I think I want to be a comedian or this is what I want to do? Where did your inspiration come from?
It's funny that I can tell you the tipping point was actually during COVID lockdown era, so early 2020. And I saw a documentary that Judd Apatow made. You know Judd, he did Superbad and
yeah, for sure.
He made made a documentary about a guy named Gary Shan, who is his mentor. He gave Judd his first paid gig of, I think he was writing jokes for him at the Grammys. And then first time Judd ever directed anything was a show, The Larry Sanders Show, which is Gary's show. But so Gary was his mentor, and it's this beautiful documentary. It's like 4.5 hours. It's like a 2-part. And Gary was a guy out here in LA who was he was originally a writer for television, and then he actually got into a car accident. And then he was like, I think he's thinking about doing stand-up, maybe do it a little bit, but he just kind of wanted to find himself. And he got in the car accident, and he was like, I need to take my life seriously. Like, I want to, figure out himself. And everything through his comedy, he was this amazing, amazing writer, did these incredible things, Emmy-winning, all that stuff. Right. But he saw stand-up as an expression of himself, of figuring himself out while being funny, while using his writing, doing what he loves. And that's, and that's who Gary was. So seeing that was, it clicked. 'Cause I loved writing. I liked being personable, but I never really thought it could be me in front of the camera. I didn't think I was necessarily the guy. I thought maybe I'd write for the guy. And then I was like, I can just do it myself. I was like, all right, I'll take that. But that's that whole generation. That's like the Richard Pryors of the world as well. And, you look at him and how much he inspires on and on, Chappelle, all those things. But that's what it was for me, is like the idea that I could write, be funny, do this incredible thing, but also, be myself. Like that's a big part of it.
No, that's love. What are your? Oh, I saved this for the end. What
comedians? We'll just rip the Band-Aid off. You got more questions in the bank. We'll be fine. Yeah.
Now, what comedians would you say right now who you look up to, or who inspire you, or who push you to be better, be great? It doesn't have to be mainstream. Just comedians that inspire you.
Yeah, God, there's so many good comics. Obviously there's the Chappelle's, the Louis C.K., Norm Macdonald, R.I.P. There's obviously so many great guys. Of the young voices, I like Shane Gillis has really, came on and crushed. And, but also I've been very lucky to have very successful comedians in my life. I get to open a lot. Like pretty much every month in New York, I open for a guy named Steve Byrne, who, he's been doing comedy like 27 years. So he has like 5 specials. He's done Netflix, he's done Amazon, and he's been very gracious and guiding and giving me spots, before maybe I was even ready to have them. But just somebody he's just a pure club comic. Like, all he cares about is being funny and going in and crushing it, and works hard and all these different. I think he's going to direct a movie that Will Smith's produced pretty soon. But just a workhorse, and everyone around him that I know that I talk to him, they just say how much they respect him and how much I respect him obviously as well. But just watching somebody go in and just I got to perform at the La Jolla Comedy Store, and just watching him. You're talking about people doing crowd work for social media. Right, yeah. He's done specials that are crowd work. And, like I said, he's been doing it almost 30 years. And watching him kill for an hour and 15 minutes, with maybe 7 of that is like material. And so it's like, that just inspires you. Of someone he just gives a shit about stand-up. He just cares. And the product comes out, and the rest takes care of himself. So
I love hearing those type of stories, because like whenever you say our people that know stand-up, that's a hard.
That's crazy.
It's very crazy hard to be locked in for that long. But also too, you said workhorse and worker. Like, I think that inspires me more whenever you see somebody have the success. But just seeing somebody that's successful, and his mindset to continue to keep working, but also pour into young guys and young up and coming people, and not, gate hold information, help you become better on your craft. I think that's what takes certain people to the next level, because I remember seeing it whenever I first got into podcasting. It was during COVID, and I was supposed to do it with my friends. Shout out to my guys. But we went to the studio, and I'll never forget being in the studio for the first time. I love basketball. Basketball is like, I love everything about basketball.
For sure.
The gym, the tying your shoes, the challenging, the defense, somebody guarding. The basketball is like my love. But when I got in the studio and I was dressed, and I was like, wow, it gave me that same feel. And when I started doing the research, podcasting, I seen Joe Rogan. And I was like, man, he had already had a lot of episodes out. He was ahead of time when it came to podcast. He's been doing podcasts, but I started researching, and you know, he does fighting and all that, but he was talking about the amount of hours that he put in for his craft. And then Kobe Bryant, the amount of hours he said he put in for his craft, and I'm just like, wow. And it clicked. It's like, this is what I want to do, but I gotta put in the hours for the craft.
Right.
And I think, shout out Nisha, a TT Jones sister, but seeing certain people do it, she has a podcast and stuff, I was like, wow, like this is crazy. I want to get to that level, but I knew in order to put the work, and I think that most people don't really understand as far as like you receive the opportunity, but you still have an opportunity to learn and even learn more.
Oh yeah, and you have to prep for that, and it's definitely not as fun when you're not ready for it. When you're more after opening up for him and then getting another opportunity to do it in New York, like definitely I enjoyed it way more the more prep I had, because then you can just do the work. And it's fun, and you get to fully be present versus being like, oh crap, for like 2 weeks.
Right. Just thinking, I don't think that some people understand how much prep go into product. For instance, you know, you with comedy, him with his the material of writing it, that's a whole formula of work yourself. Then the performance is
I think it's definitely, it's kind of funny to go back to social media. That's always the difference with why people do so much crowd work, is because they don't want to burn jokes. That's the whole thing. Because you know what I'm saying with that? If you see something on social media and you're like, oh wow, Chuck's funny, and you go see me in person, if I do the same joke, it doesn't work.
It doesn't hit the same.
So it is one of those things, but like you work it time and time again. And I think the big thing too with writing, because like I'm a writer. Like I love writing, I love doing all that stuff. But the interesting thing with stand up that I kind of learned as I did it more and more is really, it's like, I'll write a lot. Like I might write out a joke when I very first start to see where it is, but I will never go like word for word on stage. Because a lot of it too, it should come from you. Like everything that I say, and you've seen me do it, but everything that I say on stage, I stand my ground on it. I believe it. And the setup and the words here and blah, blah, blah. But so much of it for me is like, no, I actually mean that. I actually believe what I'm saying. So when it comes down to it, I'm just, and I think the trick of when you do it forever, and why some people can be like, oh yeah, I didn't really prepare people who've been doing it, 10, 15 years, be like, oh yeah, I don't write at all. Well, that's part of it, because you have that system that's over and over. Like I know, I feel like I've just recently reached like understanding what my system is. Like I'm not like, I'm at stage one of being like, I think I know how to make material that I like the way I want to, and I just hit that.
How long did it take you?
At least like 3 years.
3 years
of just doing it. 3 years. That's 3 years of actually doing it. I did a year stand up, and then actually moved up to LA for work, and then stopped for like almost 2 before getting back into it, which was cool because I did a little bit of everything. I worked in television. I worked on I was assistant. The TED TV show that came out with the Ted the Talking Teddy Bear. And so the TV show they just did, I got to be an executive assistant to the executive producer on that, and then I got to be on work on a pilot. I got it for a writer assistant and all the production development. Like I kind of did a little bit of everything in entertainment, and even before and after doing stand up. And then like that was the thing. It's like all this stuff is great and cool, but then you find that I'm like, but I knew what I loved, which was stand up. I always felt like when I stopped that whole period, I was always the kid who was like the high school quarterback. He's like, I used to do stand up. I used to be pretty good. And I'm like, there's probably something in that should that calls me back. And I've never been happier. Dude, it's easy when I do the rest of my life. I don't know if you saw my tattoo, but my tattoos.
Oh, it's hurting my head.
You can't see. I know it's upside down.
We got to get a zoom in.
Yeah,
we're gonna get a picture of that.
We're gonna put it
be
in.
on the pod. I'm gonna get a picture.
Yeah, and it's funny. I got this tattoo, and I remember because I always wanted the tattoo. I liked this placement for years and didn't know what I wanted. And I remember I was on a flight and it clicked. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I want. And then being so nervous about like if people are gonna get it. And then I remember I told the woman who tattooed me like what I wanted, and she just went and she just laughed, and I was like, good, done, I'm doing it. Like, right. But this is also, I always say, this is like my wedding ring to the game. Like I can't quit now. I can't be a banker with this on my hands.
No, that's you definitely can't be a banker.
It's over. Like this is
in my hand.
literally I'm doing it right now, actually.
Nah, that's love.
Yeah.
I think just hearing all that and hearing what you said, like it took you 3 years to find like your formula. I think with me, this is like my 3rd year of having a pod. Well, 2 years of having a pod, but 3rd year of having everything together. And I just learned, I feel, in this past year, like how to write episodes. I got my degree in psychology, so whenever you do psychology, you have to write about a person. You got to write the levels. So I already was talented at that because I had to do it for school. Right. But when I used it with my own business, with my pod, I kept stretching it out. And early I was like, dang, like I can't write an episode. Why is it so hard? Because people think you just get on a podcast, you find some topics, but like, you gotta research. Out, like, what's up, it's not. It's definitely not.
So what'd
like
you do this weekend, dog? Like,
right. And then I remember I was watching. Shout out Gilly and Wallow. They do $1 million worth of games. So I'll never forget this. This was like a year ago. I'm watching their pod. Wallow says something like, he's like, yeah, we shot like 7 episodes in a day. I'm like, well, man, it takes me 3 hours to write one episode. Wow. Yeah. I'm like, nah.
Who wants to talk that much? My whole job is talking. I don't want to talk for 7 hours. Yeah.
I was like, dang. But what it clicked for me is the work ethic. I was like, wow. So not only to shoot the pod, but they had the right. I'm like, I got to get. And like the way I am, whenever I hear new information, if it makes sense to me, I max out on it. I just go. Oh yeah, like I'm gonna max out on that. So now I can write an episode in like 15 minutes. Studying somebody, that's different. That takes a little bit more time. I need to hear interviews and do. But as far as writing an episode, easily 10, 15 minutes I can write. I can write however long I want to go. Like I kind of know how to channel it, but it comes from preparation. Right. Hard work, knowing my system and things like that.
Yeah.
So, kind of like what you said.
And then it's like expressing yourself. Right. I'm like, how you feel is actually like what you do. Yeah. You know, it's that's the thing that's where it's fun. That's when you can match, and then it's reps, and it's, you know, I think a big part of that, a big thing, and every comic does this, when you first start out, you're writing jokes that are just jokes. I'm just writing things with a punchline. And like I said, I come from a writing background, so I'm thinking, I'm competitive. I'm like, I'm going to write the best joke.
Where did the writing come? Because I see you write some stuff like articles and things, sports stuff.
Journalist,
Yeah. I'm not to interrupt, but I want to dive into that, though. So where did that come from, and what was the motivation for writing? Where did that come from?
That's a great question. I'm trying to think. I mean, I will say this. I love the talk, and writing is just me being able to talk to myself all the time. And then you have to sit there and listen to it. I think that maybe it's a part of that. I loved books growing up. I was definitely I was a chunky little nerd. I was not an athlete growing up. I wanted to read books. I did a year of like hip hop dance when I was a kid. Like I did everything that like wasn't cool. I did at some point. So I don't know. To be honest, it's like the only thing I was truly good at time and time again was writing and communicating. To be honest, I think part of the reason I'm a skilled writer is because I had to write so many essays in high school at the last second. You just get used to it. Like every essay was like an AP test, you know, where I got 45 minutes. You do things last
minute. That's actually crazy you say that. That's how I got good at writing. I was a horrible writer. But I changed my major from pharmacy to psychology, and I really got into psychology. Like I love psychology, everything about it. And then I knew that I had to write what I was teaching, what I was learning, what theory I was using. So once I just shot off. I was like, I love to write.
Yeah.
But, you know, gracefully now it helps me with my pod. But it's a process.
And it's like, it's a more detailed way to express your thoughts is writing. That's why books, like even nowadays with all the content we have, are still so powerful. Because you actually have to sit and work and do the work and to read it. Yeah. You know, it's weird. Like you think like even listening to an audiobook or something, or watching a video, you realize how little work you do when you do it versus when you actually sit and you read something and you know. And I think to me, a lot of it is like my parents are both great communicators. You know, my dad ran for governor in Oregon back in like 2011, and it was an incredible speaker and like I said, very smart guy. Yeah. And my mom,
he went to Yale.
He went to Yale. He got his money's worth. Yeah, he got out of
no matter what.
Yeah, go Bulldogs.
Yeah, people still can't go to Yale. So shout out to his dad.
Nah, he's a nerd for sure. But you know, my mom is also like an incredible speaker. My writing skills definitely comes from her. She definitely would
Damn,
is my editor.
You went to Yale and they couldn't even inspire writing. It's crazy.
No, yeah. My mom went to U of University of Oregon. So mom's like, how about that state school education? She's this incredible writer. So I got that from my mom. And, you know, like I said, I love to communicate. I would like to say I love to talk, but really it's communication overall. And kind of that when you write, and you probably get it, when you can just tinker with a word or a sentence and it just kind of clicks.
Yeah.
That's the best feeling. I mean, joke writing is the same way, but just when that puzzle piece, it's like those locks on those combo locks. You know what I mean? You twist it and you turn it and you edit and, you know, and yeah, I think that's where the writing comes in. It's just communicating and getting something that just says what you want perfectly.
That's love.
Yeah.
What do you think is 3 emotions that you felt or that you feel consistently doing comedy?
3 emotions I feel doing comedy.
Yeah.
Who said I had feelings? No. I'm just cold-blooded.
Right.
3 emotions.
3 emotions.
Geez. That's a well, definitely, when things go well, you feel happy. I'll give you that. That's an easy one. I definitely feel a little bit of stress sometimes. I think, you know, before the show, you know, nerves, all that stuff. You know, I think a lot of times I'm competitive. So like everything I wanted, you obviously want to kill and do well, but I want to really crush. So you have to feel the pressure, and I don't know what the emotion would be, but I just would, I don't know how to call it, which is, I talk about being a good writer, I can't think of a word, but I don't know, just that sense of connection, that feeling that almost, you want to say unity. That's what I would say, is the fact that, like, you know, when you're in the moment of a show and you're talking and things are really clicking, you know, and you're saying jokes and everyone's together, like that unifying feeling is you know, really brings it together. And that's a good question. I'm trying to think of like labeling my emotions.
No, it's
I don't talk about my feelings.
It's your boy King Trey here with Decoding Two Sides of the System. Listen, if you are going through any mental health problems, if you are struggling with any mental health issues, just know that you matter, and it matters. Don't matter whatever the problem is, and I would like to be the person to help you. If you're going through any mental health problems, I want you to go on any one of my posts on my page, any social media, and comment "Be Different." Whenever you comment "Be Different," I will DM you and we can set up a one-on-one meet for me to help you become whatever version of yourself you deem to fit. If you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to continue to be great, if you want to take accountability, please contact me and I will help you on your journey to be whatever version you want to be. Be different. So whenever I usually ask people that, it puts you in a mental thing of making you think.
Right. It
kind of leads me into our next thing about adversity. I feel adversity is some of the best things that you can go through.
Yeah.
And most people might say like what do you mean by that? Like nobody, but I think through adversity you get your lessons quick, because I feel like there's things in life that you learn, but it takes you time to learn. You can say, oh yeah, you know, when I was younger, now that I'm older, I understand this. But when you going through adversity, I feel like adversity shines light on your lessons, like, and puts it in a magnifying glass to like right in your face. Are you learning this, and this? And you know, then it's your choice on how you handle those lessons and move forward,
right? Or
what you do with the information. So this leads me into my next thing: facing adversity just as a person, not just a comedian.
Yeah.
Facing it like as a person. How do you handle adversity, and what's your steps on?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer. You know? No, I think one thing I always say is that I feel very lucky that I grew up with sports. That I grew up being competitive and having parents that are competitive, because you just get used to it. You just get used to competition, to someone not allowing you to do exactly what you want to do, or facing situations that you don't like, or overcoming injuries or losses, or whatever it is. I think for me, it's a mentality that you just keep going. And to be honest, I think that's something that even lacks today overall with the social media stuff, is people are so thinking ahead of or what that success looks like, and people lose the resiliency side of thinking like, I'm feeling this way, and then you become that. You know, like that. So you're talking about a lot about mental health. I am statements and that mentality. That's a lot. You kind of are what people say. You are what you eat. You are what you think too.
Oh yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful.
The identity that you put out there is what it is.
Yeah.
So for me, it's we'll use stand up for example. If I'm going through a bad set or I'm in like a little writing, I still you still going because I believe I'm going to be or am really a professional comedian and I'm going to get to this level. I'm going to get to that set. And I think for me, it's kind of just toughen up. It sounds messed up, but that's trust me, that's how my mom raised me. Is you tough up and you keep going. You know, I grew up with a family that had a lot of responsibilities. My family met and continue to meet a lot of things to a lot of people, also because they're very generous with their time and take on a lot of things. So like the idea of just being like, I don't feel like it, and tap it out. It's not an option. It's like sucks, dude. Like get it done. So I think that's the way I see with adversity. Is obviously it's very legitimate and everyone has it and goes through it at different levels, and you just can't quit. You gotta keep going. What's the point? You're just gonna sit in bed and just watch Netflix? Like what's the benefit of that? That doesn't help you either. You know?
I think that a lot of people run from adversity. If you say you want to do something, part of that is going through adversity. I think what adversity for me is, with my family, is my mom. I grew up with a single mom, and then I was raised by my grandfather and grandparents, so I was kind of taught like the old school way of handling things. But I'll never forget, my mom would tell me adversity is built to teach you lessons. And through those lessons, it's not going to be easy, but you got to accept it. And I feel like that was some of the greatest advice that anybody could give me, because anything that I ever went through, I kind of knew that it was supposed to happen. Whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's building a business or having a failed podcast, failed video, anything. It's like you're supposed to be in that. So learn your lessons from it. Know what you got to do. But I think that we live in a time now to where you can easily get patted on your back. And parenting is kind of different, Now it's it's not really the same. And no shade on like parenting thing, but my mom was kind of like the same. Like, all right, hey, shake it off, get to it,
It's crazy. I've been reading just the timing of it, but I've been reading this book called Bad Therapy, which is talking about. I don't know if you've heard of it. I think the woman who wrote it was on Rogan, but basically just saying how much that it's almost like the idea of how much mental health has gotten into schools and how much there's such a focus on it has almost become like almost the example they gave is treating healthy patients. Like how you don't do surgery, there's complications from surgery. So if you can recover without it, you don't do it. And nowadays, with everyone's constantly like checking in, like, how are you doing? Like, are you okay? Is today a good day or a bad day? And they're doing it in schools, and they do it, really all over the place. But there was a really interesting part of it that hit for me, which was saying how psychologists were saying you're really only happy like 18% of the day, and that means you're having an awesome day if you're feeling emotionally happy. Because really, what it is we're all people. We're going from one thing to another. We all have objectives. So you're accomplishing a goal. When you're working out, for example, you're not like, if you were mid bench press, you wouldn't be like, I'm happy the whole time. But when you're done with it, you're happy. And so is that mentality that you're not supposed to be happy 100% of the time. You're supposed to go through stuff. You're supposed to have negative feeling. That's natural. Versus that's kind of like you're constantly like, are you okay? And just checking in. That makes you feel like, oh, am I not okay? Like, it's that thing with your mom where you wake up in the morning, you feel kind of sick because you don't really want to go to school. And then your mom, like, you're like, I feel sick. And then your mom's like, oh, you do look kind of pale. And then you're like, I guess I'm sick. Like, I guess today's the day.
It's versus, like you lose your emotion into what's reality.
For my mom, when we were kids, if we would trip, the big thing was that my mom would just go safe, like we slowed it, like baseball. Versus if your kid's like, oh, honey, and like picks you up, then you think, oh, I'm hurt. That's how someone else reacted.
The emotions.
And it's the same thing with adversity. If you're constantly thinking like, I should be happy all the time, these are my problems, these are blah blah blah, and everyone else should react to that, then how are you not you're constantly thinking about how much things suck. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to get past that? Everything is adversity, everything's blah blah, versus saying, it's like you said, it's essentially a good thing. It teaches you lessons.
It teaches you lessons.
It's life. It's life. Life would totally suck if we had no problems. We just out here doing everything because we can, and then like, well, I guess I guess that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you earn nothing.
Facts.
That would be that doesn't sound like a good time either.
I think it's something crazy that you said as far as I learned this in psychology and we winding up. You said whenever you fall, your mom would say safe, and people don't understand. We learned that in psychology that sometimes your emotion, if you show the emotion of a kid, your worry, it triggers the kid mind and thinking that they're hurt and they're crying instead of them actually realize like are they hurt really? And a lot of parents, it's kind of like the thing of even within men, you know, letting a man express his emotions early instead of trying to hurry up and wrap them up, because then when you get older, you don't know how to express your emotions. And that you know that dips into your relationships with your family, your girlfriend, things of that nature. But dang, I want to definitely get to this point. First, ask you a question. And then round it up, get to the what I call it, decoding the real, and then we're going to be out of here. But
sounds good.
So what are the top, you can only do three best comedians out right now?
Out right now?
First I want to do top three comedians stand up. And then I got another question.
Top. Well, I'm trying to think. Well, I'll give you like my personal top three.
Your personal top.
My personal three would be top of my head. I put Louis C.K. first. I think he's the most like embodies a comedian, just his body work, all the hours, everything. I put Chappelle second. That's usually my like GOAT, A1, A-B. Because like Louis is the most comic for comic's sake. It's all about the material, the workload. Chappelle is almost the best. I almost want to say best performer. Like anything Chappelle does, if he grabs a microphone, he's the host of whatever room he walks into. And that's like the two things. There's being just pure balls out funny material, and then there's a performative connection of it. And that's what makes both those guys' careers so incredible. Number three. I love a Norm Macdonald. He's like I just showed somebody the moth joke. That's honestly, if I date somebody, and a barometer for me is like if I show you do you know what I'm talking about, the moth joke thing?
What is it?
He did a thing on Conan where so the story behind it is he had to like fill an extra segment that he didn't know. Like you know they sit for one segment.
Segment.
So he did a second one. And what he did, I'll have to show it to you, but he took a really basic street joke and just made the setup like 4 minutes long and just kept adding things. Like, look at the setup. I won't say the punchline, but the setup is, so a moth walks into a podiatrist's office, and then the moth, he's like, why are you in this office, moth? And he goes, oh, because my kid's sick and my life is terrible and blah, blah. And it's just this most ridiculous thing. And they get to the punchline. It's the most basic punchline. And but it's just somebody who just cares about comedy. And does it. Actually, well, maybe a better way to know it. Like, you know, he also, too, he's the one who got fired off of Weekend Update for SNL for doing the OJ jokes.
Oh.
That's Norm.
I think I heard. Yeah. I heard that.
He comes in the day that OJ, like, just nonstop OJ jokes. And the day his sentence came out, the first, they didn't say, do not say, you know, obviously it was such a rough time. Said, do not say anything. And the first joke was, all right, news today, murder is legal in the state of California. And just didn't care about anything, just going for not trying to make a statement, he's just trying to go for what's funny.
Facts.
So Norm is one of the he's kind of like your favorite comic. So for me, just because I love him, he's my third.
He's your third.
He's my third.
Okay. What about top three comedians in movies? Like what's your favorite comedian's movie?
Comedian.
Just like comic actors. Oh, like I love Bernie Mac in movies. That's my all-time favorite.
I feel
anything him in a movie, I love it.
That's I love Will Ferrell in a movie.
Will Ferrell.
People forget the kind of run he went on.
Nah.
He swept up 2000.
Will Ferrell's tough. Dang, he might. Dang, I had a three, but I don't even want to say it now because I love Will Ferrell.
I'm trying to think who else I think is like really
Talladega Nights. Whenever he was that dude is, oh my god.
I think I'm just trying to think off the top of my head who I don't know if it's like my all-time three, but just think off the top of my head. You know, obviously like Kevin Hart. I think he gets a lot of flack, and I don't know why he gets so much. I think he just works really hard.
Too great. Whenever you great, they gotta pick at you.
Yeah, they gotta pick at you. Forget how much like Eddie Murphy obviously had an incredible run.
Tough.
Jim Carrey had it. I'm not always the biggest like man-child humor. Like I love a lot of Jim Carrey except for Ace Ventura. Because everyone hyped this movie up for like my entire life.
They did hype it.
Everyone's like, I can't. I think because he was so new that people were like, wow, it's amazing. And then now you see his body work backwards, and you're like, what was that? Like what was he doing?
Yeah.
I mean, even like people forget how good Chris Tucker is.
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker's the man. Yeah,
Chris Tucker. Yeah. There's so many great comedians that's acting. Yeah,
and it always feels like a good sign of a comedian, or comic actors. Yes, somebody who can carry a movie, but like you think like Tucker's a good example. You put him in the Friday movie, he's not the guy, but he's stealing scenes.
Right.
Every time he's stealing scenes and crushing it. And that's definitely a skill I would love to do, just to say I did it. But yeah, acting's fun. I only got to do it like a few times, but it's definitely it's a fun thing in it. But it
gives you a good platform, I would say.
Yeah, it does.
Like it builds you. You get one great scene in an act. I feel like that.
Yeah.
In today's time with social media.
Well, you know what's funny is I randomly listened to or read an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, and he was talking about how like the B movie he did, and he was saying how he actually was disappointed with it because he thought it was like a solid movie, but when they showed it in theaters, he's like, oh, the laughs aren't there because he's used to stand up. He's so hardwired to stand up. So it is an interesting thing. Making a comedy movie is so hard. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy hard. That's why I think for a lot of those mediums nowadays, it's so much fun to have something with like a dramatic backbone and then just lace in jokes and do that. I think, So who's your three?
Oh,
I want to hear. I put you on the spot. You put me on the spot. I'm put you back. Come on, man. This is a two-way street right now.
Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
For sure. It's all time. I love him in any movie. Dang, it's so hard. I got to go Bernie Mac. Dang. That's tough.
Are you thinking of too many, or do you just not have them?
I'm not going to lie. I'm thinking of too many because I like Will Ferrell. I
think I listed about 12.
Yeah, I like Will Ferrell. I like Jim Carrey. I like, who's the guy that's in the movie with Step Brothers with him?
Oh, John C. Reilly? No, that's Step Brothers. Yeah, John C. Reilly.
Yeah, Step Brothers. Yeah,
John C. Reilly, yeah.
Dang.
I know there's a lot.
No. It's really what. Okay. I'll go. I gotta go Jim Carrey for sure. Jim Carrey go. And my last one. Dang. I'm gonna go. I think I might go. Dang. I want to say Steve Harvey. I love Steve Harvey in any movies. Yeah. Makes me laugh. But then again,
because I'm started thinking like you start throwing in like Cat Williams in there, talking about who steals scenes.
Yeah, Cat Williams. Yeah,
Cat.
I forgot about Cat.
You said Steve Harvey and Bernie. I was like, oh, there's Cat.
Yeah, I gotta go Cat. Bernie, Cat, and Jim Carrey.
I like that.
Bernie,
that's a good
Cat,
one.
Jim Carrey. Yeah,
that's a good bunch. I know there's gonna be somebody as soon as we it's
gonna bother me. Especially as the pod keep growing, I'm gonna have to add. But
put it in the comments below.
Yeah. No shade, but nah. But I want to get to this moment called Decoding the Real. First off, man, I want to say thank you so much, man, for coming to the pod. It's very nice meeting you. Shout out to my guy, Barlin.
What's up, B?
I love you, bro. I appreciate you connecting us. And I just want to say, man, doing my research, even you sending me your comedy thing, I love to see, like, your passion and also just, like, you as a person. As far as your family, like, helping out B, he told me and stuff like that. That shows a lot about not only you, but your family's character. I would love to meet them one day. Yeah, man. Like I said, congratulations on just you not giving up and starting and going and doing all these things within comedy, moving to New York, taking the initiative, going out the nest, learning. A lot of people don't get a chance to, tell people, how they feel about them while they there and stuff. But I want to say just not even meeting you lonely, but just being in touch and really gotten to research and talking to Borland about you and stuff. Man, he really was high up on your character, and I truly appreciate you connecting with me, man. And
appreciate
even making it happen. I mean, for people that don't know, we've been talking for probably like a month and a half now, but we decided. Not like every day or nothing, no fake stuff. But I was gonna do the interview online, and he was like, "Man, I'll be in LA." I was like, "Oh, well, let's do it in person."
We gotta get it done.
Man. So, man, I appreciate you, man. That's real life love, man. Thank you so much.
Hey, right back at you, man. This has been super fun. I'm glad we made it happen.
It's hot as hell in here, y'all.
Hot as hell, but not as hot as this podcast, man.
It's hot as hell here, y'all. Y'all see why I just got a muscle shirt on and stuff. But I
know. You're getting your white outfit in for Labor Day.
Come on, man. He's been on me about that, but and also to the Shout out to you, Julie. I'm going to say it on camera because I'm going to do it off camera. With the big jump in the subscribers, this year we started off at 1,700. Now we over 20,000 people.
Love it.
I'm going to say it on camera to my cameraman, even though I was going to tell him, bro, I appreciate you. I appreciate everything you do for me. Regardless if we talk, I always check in on you. And like, I don't even like highlighting stuff that I do behind the scenes because some people be thinking stuff be fake. But I do want to say, bro, from the bottom of my heart, I truly appreciate you taking out your time whenever you can to come help me out and shoot and just be there, chop it up, talk. I appreciate you inviting me to your church and everything. You know, I don't like saying stuff behind camera, but I do appreciate you, bro. And I want to say it on camera so people can see it because that's just the type of person I am. I don't really, you know, but yeah, for sure, bro. Thank you, bro. Love.
That was touching. I'm touched. Yeah,
Nah, it's love, all love, bro. Thank you, bro, for real. Yeah, love. And for everybody that's out there, I have started like my one-on-one as far as connecting with people and, you know, helping people with any mental health things. So if you have anything, please comment, be different. I'll DM you and we can get going. But thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode. Thank you so much again, my guy. And I'll be back soon, for sure.
See you guys.
Yep.
Hold your applause, I ain't done yet. Immortality got me weary since Kobe died. I got this watch on my arm, but I'll never